Good morning, everybody. I just want to record this video to talk about what the next week and a half is going to look like, culminating with your first exam at the end of next week. So let me share my screen here. And so first off, notice that you have nothing due on Wednesday or Thursday, and that's of course because Thursday is July 4th and the campus is closed on July 3rd as well. Now that being said, I'm not going to have regular student hours at that time. However, I will be checking the homework forum and answering your questions and things like that. So don't hesitate to reach out. The only day over this long weekend that I'm going to probably be completely unavailable will be the 6th. But on Friday, I should be available early in the day to answer those kind of questions, and then Sunday late in the day. So that's why there's all this blank space here. All right. And then when you look into the next week, you have some things due, and you'll see that it says exam 1 on the 10th and exam 1 on the 11th. Now that is your option as to when you want to take the exam. Okay, so it's not on both days. You just pick what works for you. All right, so it'll be available on both of those days for you to take. And I'll describe in a moment exactly what it looks like for you to take the exam. But the other thing I want to point out on the calendar here is that I'm going to have a live review session for that exam on Monday the 8th. Of course, the time that I do that review session, it's going to be from 2 to 3:30 on Monday the 8th. May not work for you, so it will be recorded, and then you can watch later if the time doesn't work for you. But if you are available from 2 to 3:30, I encourage you to come live. That way you can ask questions and things in real time, which is always really nice. All right, so scrolling down here to the Chapter 1 exam block, opening that up. First thing is you'll see a block here that says important exam information. So as I said in the first orientation video, you do need to come to campus to have your test proctored, right? And so there is a proctoring center on the Yakima campus and a proctoring center on the Grandview campus. So on the Yakima campus, it's in the DCO building, and that's upstairs in rooms 208 and 230. On the Grandview campus, it's their main building in room 116. So please note the hours that they are open, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. For the Yakima campus. That means that you need to start your exam by 6 p.m. at the latest, right? Because it's an hour exam. So, they're not going to give you the exam, with 10 minutes to go, because they're gonna want to get out of there at 7 p.m. In Grandview, just notice there's a little difference between their computer lab hours and their proctored testing hours. So please just pay attention to these down here when determining when you're going to go in to take a test. Couple things to note is that you may bring a calculator with you, but you don't need anything fancy for the calculator, just something that'll do some basic arithmetic. I think I do provide in the homework, or excuse me, in the exam questions though, that might need it, a little online calculator too. So if you forgot, you'd be okay for this one. But do bring a picture ID. They like to check to make sure that you are who you say you are. So remember, picture ID, it can be your student ID, it can be a driver's license, just something that they can match the picture up to the name. All right, so that's when you can take your exams. If any of you are making arrangements to take it at a different proctoring center, hopefully that process is well underway. But if you have any questions about that, let me know. But the majority of you will just be taking it on one of these campuses. You don't have to schedule, by the way. You can just drop in during these times. You don't have to contact them ahead of time. Okay, here's where the review session recording will be. So like I said, 2 to 3:30 on Monday, July 8th. And then I'll put the video of the recording right here when it's all done. Here's the questions that we're going to be going over. So, since we have this really long stretch of time where you don't have anything due, maybe a good use of that time would be to try all these practice questions beforehand, see how you do on them. Might be a good idea. So these practice questions go specifically with my review session. However, in addition to that, I'm also going to give you another review assignment that's based on data collected from the islands. And I'll confess that it was supposed to be kind of based on the islands activity you did when you asked about their exercise habits and things like that. But in this instance, I actually used data from an old class, just because I was having I wasn't in a position to be able to take your data and create the graphs that I wanted. There was something wrong with my program on my computer that I have to get fixed. So no worries there, though. You can click on this, and it's just based on islands data I collected in a previous quarter. Okay, so that one's just one that you do on your own. And then here's the key for that same assignment so that you can check your work with it. And then I've also given you a list of the different things that you should be comfortable with, the different concepts, and also to review them more, where would you find them in the video notes? So that's what I put here, like all these pieces of vocabulary are on pages 1 through 2 and 4. And then here's the assignments you'll find them in. Okay, so for all these different topics, I've listed page numbers in the notes and in the assignment where you practice that. Like I said, there's the key. And then on the day that you go in to take your exam, this right here is currently invisible to you. In fact, let me go to student view so that you can see exactly what it looks like. So right now it's all grayed out, and you can't do anything if you click on it. But starting at 8 a.m. on the 10th, then you'll be able to click on it. Now there is a password, and the folks at the test proctoring center will have the password, and they'll type that in for you, and then you'll get started. Now your exam will look a lot like a WAMAP homework assignment. It'll all be WAMAP questions. For a lot of the questions, you can just simply do your answers on WAMAP. However, there will be some questions where I'll want to see work that you did so that I can give you partial credit. So here's just an example from a previous quarter. So it won't necessarily be the same problem numbers, but what I've done, so this one here, you'll see it says 2A, 2B, and 2C. Well, obviously that's not the first question on the test, but the idea here is that on WAMAP, question number 1 doesn't really require you to show any work. So it's not on this work area. So 2A, 2B, 2C, and then all of a sudden it jumps to 7A, 7B. So some of the questions you'll see on the piece of paper that they give you, and they'll provide this to you in the test proctoring center. So just assume when you see this, just know that, okay, if it's on the paper, I need to write out my work for it. If it's not on the paper, then I don't need to write anything for it. So you'll turn this piece of paper into them after you complete the exam on WAMAP. And at first, you won't really see anything in the gradebook. So I'm going to hide the scores from you because of the fact that I haven't gone through and graded for partial credit. So I go through and I carefully look at all your responses and say, okay, yeah, that one wasn't right on, but it's still worth some points. Or anything that you have to type out, like a short answer question, it's not going to count those points automatically. I have to go in later and do those. So I hide this score from you so that it doesn't alarm you at first. And then after I'm able to go in and grade for all the partial credit and everything like that, then I go ahead and let you know, okay, now I've entered it in the grade book and you can see your score. So that's how the exams work. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. And again, you can pick either next Wednesday or next Thursday to do it. The thing I'll just point out to you is that if I go back to the calendar, you do have video notes that you're responsible for doing in chapter 2, and these do take a while. So you're going to want to get these done at some point during this time period. So it's just up to you. If you want to maybe get the exam done on the 10th, and then that'll free you up to do these notes on the 11th. That's great. Or maybe you can do these notes before the exam to give you a little bit more time, and then you take the exam on Thursday. So that's totally up to you. The last thing I just want to say is that please do take advantage of the homework forum. It's really helpful. So if you have a question on something, check to see if someone's posted about it. But please don't hesitate at all when you have questions. A lot of some of the best and most efficient learning occurs in the dialogue that we can have on the homework question forum. So when you're doing a problem in the homework and you see that post to forum button, don't hesitate to use it because I think it's really helpful to you and it's helpful to the whole class. So, all right. Well, I do hope you have a great 4th of July. But like I said, I'll be checking messages. I'll be checking homework forums. So just reach out whenever you have questions. All right. Thanks.